This is a message for specifically divine counterparts. It feels really powerful because I just feel this heavy energy. Maybe you're feeling really anxious or something along those lines, okay? It's important to remember that in order for divine counterparts to come together into sacred union, you need to have been working on yourselves, right? Because when you come together, obviously you two trigger each other's shadows, very much so, okay? But when you come together as your divine selves, which means that you have recognized, you've gone through the work, you've recognized where those shadows are, what your triggers are, you begin to understand how to handle those kind of emotions, those feelings, those cycles as they come up, okay? So I've said before that when you come together, you'll have like this healing kind of cycle together phase. What I truly mean by that is you'll be coming into alignment with each other. You'll be having the right conversations. You'll be removing the masks that need to be removed. If there is illusion or falsity or any kind of mask, as you come together, it's not going to work. Okay? Empress. Temperance. There's this need for the divine feminine energy to sit in that divine feminine energy, to sit, you know, the divine feminine, the Empress is in receiving mode. She's not rushing anything. She's totally surrendered to divine timing, and she's understood patience because she understands that everything is working out in exact divine timing, because divine timing allows you to be exactly who and what you need to be in the moment as you come together, whenever that is, the King of Wands, right? There's this need to kind of understand that the removal of ego means that when you come together, anything that is revealed, including like any situations that occurred that caused this kind of conflict and separation between you two, needed to happen that way, and that actually you both awakened and activated each other in that way, right? Truths that become illuminated to help you understand that someone has, I feel like, you know, both of you have been going through so much in your lives. You've had a lot of trauma, a lot of wounds that have had to be unearthed, okay, and really understood, and new perspectives had to be gained during this time apart, right? The Chariot and the Page of Swords. So with this new perspective, you can actually move forward. Whereas before you were getting stuck, you were conflicting, right? This Three of Swords energy, it was causing pain. And the High Priestess, I do feel like there's this kind of not spoken on heartbreak here, and this desire to want to move forwards. With this Ace of Wands, Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck, it's kind of like this, it's like this, I'm hearing like a reignition of passion, and this could be in your own kind of life, right? Nine of Swords, that's that kind of energy. I was starting with that anxiety. The song's just coming to my head, that song that's just like been looping everywhere. Three of Pentacles here as well, okay? This really is about coming together, just like on this photo. I don't know if you can see it, but they're having a conversation, this Nine of Cups, right? It's about really coming together and being, it's like that, giving that heart-to-heart conversation, removing the mask, being honest, but holding that space. You have to be able to receive each other and hold the space for each other from your heart space, from the space of unconditional love, which is where you understand that everything you've been learning to this point, so you know your worth, and you also recognize your divine counterparts because you always have done, right? But it's about them doing that as well, so that they can come into alignment with you at the same time, right? In that same moment. Again, it's kind of like that frequency. It's kind of, it feels like it's so fragile, but it's so strong. There's so much power to this union, to this connection, to this energy. I'm seeing successful kind of movements forwards with whatever this is. It could be communication, or so just some kind of contact that's made. I'm hearing also someone's kind of Two of Pentacles. Yeah, I think that they're sad about kind of not having you in their life. Okay, they're sad about this, whatever it is. I've heard hiding. It feels like they've hidden something. Four of Wands and the Lovers at the bottom of the deck. What it is, there was that, I mentioned they were all, and the King of Cups. Oh, and the Queen of Wands. They definitely see as they're very attracted to you, but they know that they need to reveal some truths about what happened. That's what's coming through, and I think this is kind of that heavy energy. Maybe you're getting kind of heart palpitations as well. Just I'm feeling like this, it's almost like lethargy. How do you say that word? And you just feel really like exhausted, and in the heart space especially, and maybe the solar plexus as well, okay? Judgment, awakening. You could be having this awakening. You could be feeling this from your person, actually. Ace of Swords, again, confirmation. It feels like this sword of truth is what I'm hearing there. Sword of truth, sword of justice. But then this is going to be the point where actually you get to decide now, can you work on this together? You know, this is where that point where you actually say, okay, hold on. let's align ourselves here. Let's see things on that bigger picture. Let's step back and understand the cycles, because don't forget, this isn't just about you coming into physical union. It's about you being here for a greater purpose. 9 of Pentacles. Again, the Queen of Wands wanted to come out, okay? I hear that somebody feels like, would you just be better off without them? That's not... There must be a reason they're thinking that, because, you know, you two share this kind of frequency. You know, I'm talking telepathy. I don't know if somebody has trouble with words. I'm finding it difficult to speak. 9 of Cups here again. That 9 of Cups, 2 of Swords. Yeah, someone feels like 10 of Pentacles. They see you in this, like, oh my God, there's that King of Wands again, and the 8 of Wands and the Ace of Cups. Okay, so they really want to come forward with this conversation, with this communication, because they see that, like, forever. The Divine Masculine here is worried that it's been a long time. They don't want to bring you their scars, right? Don't forget, Divine Masculine is a warrior. You know, he's the one who takes that kind of that protective, providing mode. You know, he wants to be there in the physical, in that sense, right? But he has scars. Every Viking has scars and battle wounds that even they don't speak of. Vikings must be important for somebody, okay? Even lions, right? This is what's coming through. Again, I've said this before. Sometimes it is a case that Divine Masculines need more of that emotional space, safety, to be vulnerable in their emotions, because that's not something that they're given in society. My God, 10 of Swords, 5 of Cups. But I think that this is a Divine Masculine who has experienced so much. I think that they've experienced a lot of darkness, especially after you two were in each other's lives. This makes sense, because they would have been activated to see the truth of their environment, of their journey, of the decisions they've been making, right? And they understood that. It's taken a while, but I feel like they're way more secure than they ever have been, especially from when you knew them. Oh my God, we've got the Ace of Pentacles, we've got the 10 of Cups, and we've got the 2 of Cups here, okay? So there's definitely a change. I feel like they're way more stable within themselves. I'm hearing something about hidden fantasies and hidden desires, okay? I don't know if that's something to do with, I don't know, addiction or something, I'm not sure. But there's definitely something about they're willing to take as long as it does take to be with you, to be in this union with you. Because this is where they're being called to now. This is the activation. Again, the Chariot and the Lovers. This is Gemini and Cancer season, which seems to be relevant here, okay? So this is like that energy of moving forwards by following the heart space, okay? But there's just something, I think right now they're kind of going over, I think it's just that time that was spent and not wanting to bring you the pain. But with the 2 of Cups here, they already know that this is like, I've heard a done deal. So I don't know, like, if there's, I don't know if it's ego or whether it's just so much faith in the journey, in understanding that you've been going through these cycles, you've been awakening together even though you've been apart, right? This is a connection that can't be understood by societally conventional dating or relationships or whatever. It's just not. And I think for a very long time, this Divine Masculine especially had allowed kind of external voices and influences to get in the middle of their true feelings, romantic feelings, heart-to-heart conversations. And they weren't allowing themselves to listen to their own heart, right? But again, that's because they needed that to happen so that they could be awakened to the wounds that were all around their heart space, and you could be awakened to any kind of codependency or attachment or validation that you were seeking from them, okay? I think that there's somebody they do have a lot of faith. I think that they're very connected on a spiritual level. Just as you are, actually let go of control issues. There's something here about really trusting in divine right now. True love at the bottom of the deck. I love that. That's my confirmation for like divine counterparts. It's kind of like you both allowed yourselves to release your kind of attachment to control, because you're seeing the signs and symbols everywhere. You've had so much proof and evidence that divine has given you, soulmate. So there's, again, that deep soul connection. There's no kind of, you both know that, yes, this is it. This is the one, right? Express your love. But it's all here about kind of timing right now. Okay, very soon. Just as I said that, okay. There you go, very soon. Wedding. I think it's just about recognizing where you're at right now. Oh my God, wedding, engagement, past life relationship. I think that actually in past lives you've been through certain cycles together. You really have. This is like a really powerful connection, right? Especially you two. I think that you're kind of, it's kind of like you're going to get to that stage where you can have the conversations. You can be so honest about the journey, about who you both are to each other, who you are on your own journey, what's been happening. But because you're at the space where you're not attaching to it and taking it personally, you're understanding, wow, we were really here to awaken each other to this. It feels like divine feminines, you're being tested right now. How much faith do you really have in this connection? That actually doesn't matter whether you're in physical union or not, you're always one. And it's all about how much you're actually closing out and healing through these cycles, forgiving and learning. How much are you at that capacity where you are holding that divine feminine energy, which is really strongly coming through before, of that unconditional love and self-respect. Yeah, self-respect. And how it's not just with your person, right, or with yourself, it's how are you actually acting like this in your everyday life with everybody in every situation, because that's the truth reflection here that you are bringing to each other. There is a heavy cycle that's coming to an end as you come together to have this conversation, but you've got to be at that space where you're not going to just be blaming and shaming. And I feel like you've been going through so many cycles that you're seeing things from a whole new perspective, which is beautiful. You've been learning. I feel like there's this quick progression that's going to happen once you finally come together and you align. You recognize that you can hold this frequency together, and you're going to devote yourselves to that path with each other and with yourself. It feels like it's going to progress really fast, especially from the divine masculine aspect. It feels like they want to lock it down is what I've heard. Interesting. Yeah, the end of a tough cycle approaches. That's exactly what I just said. Surrender to the divine. These are confirmation cards right now. I think it's more than anything right now, it's about going inwards. How are you responding? How to kind of recognize, work through your fears, exactly. To recognize everything that was the case when you did first connect. You know, everything that was triggered within you, the vision that you saw of you two together. How have you been evolving from that? How have you been holding faith in this new romantic cycle begins? And meditate and contemplate. Yes, there's going to be time here. Don't let pride get in your way. There's going to be kind of this need to kind of I think, you know, every time they come across, even if it's in your mind, on your screen, whatever it is, how are you responding? You need to start asking yourself that. How within you are you responding? What's being triggered? When you think about the cycles that they've been going through as well, their karmic cycles or whatever, or how they kind of, maybe they, however they behave towards you in the past, your last mode of contact, how does that still feel within you? Have you reached that point where you're like, oh, I get it, that needed to happen, and I understand why it happened, and I understand that actually it's allowed me to evolve to who I am, and it allowed them to recognize where they needed to evolve to? Or are you still like taking it personally and triggered, and is it hurting some kind of wound that is deep within you? Divine masculine is coming forwards with scars, I just keep hearing that, and it makes sense, but they're at that point where they're not just dwelling on it or sitting in it or in the pain of it. They've been cycling through that themselves. They've had to, and they want to come forward and be like, this is the truth of who I am, okay? And then it's going to be up to kind of how you both are able to handle that, if that makes sense. But like I said, this is very soon, and we did get the Cancer season and Gemini season coming through, so it's time to take action. That's just confirmation that very soon there is action. Your commitment is being tested. That's confirmation as well. You're going to be tested to ensure that you can hold this, because you're here again for a greater purpose. Emotions are running high than just being caught up in these cycles of these emotional cycles running high, right? I'm getting a message that you both actually share some kind of vision. It could have been a fantasy, a vision, a dream that you had, and it feels like it was really intimate, and it's something that you both really desire. And I don't think you've realised that you share this, and it's kind of like divine has planted something in your mind. It might be to do with that kind of, you know, engagement, wedding, or just something else, something more personal to you both. Maybe it's to do with, you know, whatever happened when you were together last. Your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. The person you're asking about is trustworthy. Trust, so much trust. So you start trusting yourself, which allows you to trust each other. So when you trust yourself in your own actions, and you start to understand where your kind of drivers are, you'll understand theirs too, right? About your thoughts and feelings. Honor and trust again your feelings. I think there's something here. They might be sending you a message. You might be messaging each other a lot, or just kind of, I'm seeing like, you know, like notes, just like lots of notes being taken in the notes pad. This situation is already resolved. Of course, this is a higher purpose for this, right? Eternal love. Oh my God, these cards. This is all just confirmation of what I'm saying. Have confidence. Truly. This feels like a positive outcome, because you have reached that point where you are so deeply connected and devoted to your divine connection, as in you and divine, that you are trusting and honouring the process, the journey, and whatever comes next, without pressuring it, without expectations or anything like that. You're trusting. Even when you feel the guidance, when you feel that your person is close to you, you trust that. You don't attach, you don't hold on to it. And if you do, because don't forget, you know, it's not just you have these traumas that suddenly gone again because you're healed. They can still come up, you know, these feelings, these triggers, but it's about how you're handling that differently now. You've understood that differently. You've got different tools in place to receive yourself. So whether it's your inner child, your inner teenager, you're you now, whatever it is, whatever situation it is, you understand that differently. There is this kind of feeling that you could be somebody who's creative. You put creativity out there in some way, shape or form, and this is something that they're understanding your feelings better from as well, if you put it out there and like for people to see in some maybe social media or something. This is actually really beautiful, but I think it's just there's this need to have trust right now, truly, in yourself, in the journey, and in whatever steps are taken next. And if it's unexpected, that's going to be like the truest test of how much are you ready, and how much are you triggered, which is why pay attention to what's happening in your life right now, because there's going to be like little triggers happening around you to prepare you for this. Okay, let me know if this reading was for you. Look after you, sending so much love.